Folks, it's Friday. You'll notice I'm not at home. Today's a red letter day. I'm going to accomplish something that I have wanted to do for more than 40 years, and I've never done it. I know it's silly, but all I ever wanted when I was a teenager was... Sorry, the light turned green. But anyway, I shouldn't be trying to film when I'm working anyway, so...
You want me to Trogly's guitar show you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Please. It's beautiful. So I traded in a couple things and some other stuff and made this happen. I've wanted one of these since I was 14. American P bass in Olympic white. What a thing. Okay, now we're home. I've looked at it, but I haven't looked at it. I mean, you gotta understand, this is like 40 years of desire on my part. I traded in Rickenbacker, Guild. We got money back on the other end, of course. But this is like, you know what's crazy about that? Rickenbacker's really expensive, right? But like their hard case is nowhere near as nice as this one. So, Fender USA, 2008. And this is a really classic configuration. Their P bass in like 62 looked exactly like this, except it had a chrome cover here. So this is a really sort of, long-lived colorway. It's really nice. I've got to clean it. It's dirty. It's dirty. It's got some bonks on it. Definitely some hits. It's got this beautiful, look at this wear through. This is Olympic white. Yeah, it's got, like, the person played it. It's got a boink there. It's got a couple cracks right there, just in the finish. Oh, they're right there. Just like that. I mean, it's got dings and doinks, and it's got buckle rash on the back, and you can see where the finish got pushed in. A couple good 3 dinks there. But the neck is beautiful. Oh my God. It's like a dream come true. I can't believe this whole thing worked out like this. Because every time I would look at that, the Rickenbacker, it was just, I couldn't touch it. It was just beautiful, too nice, not fun, not relaxed. It's too much for the likes of me. So, I don't know, man, I'm excited. Literally 40 years I've wanted this bass. I still can't believe that for a completely weird reason, I went to the music store that I almost never go to, which gave me the idea to trade in the bass and the guitar I wasn't needing or wanting anymore. And this happened to be there. It was, without a doubt, it was not a small store. It's a Guitar Center. This was the nicest bass in there, period. And there were a lot of like Mexican strats and jazz basses and etc. and P basses, and some of their neck finishes are really good. They're just not as good as this. And some of the lower ones, like the Indonesian ones, they're like, there's like no finishing on the edge of the frets, and I don't know, it's just so awesome. Yeah, it's beautiful. I can't believe it. It's the last bass I'll ever need. But you know, the nice thing, you buy something like this for a good price, which, and I got this for a good price, it'll go up in value. Fender USA, Corona, California, the real deal. Whew, that's beautiful. You know, literally 40 years of dreaming. I don't know, everything came together. I mean, I was able to trade in stuff that I absolutely didn't need, that I've never used. It looked basically brand new. So we got some good amount of cash back, and I got this thing. It's a dream come true. I am a Fender person. I'm a Fender dude. I'm a Fender guy. Fender American. That is just awesome. So I'm going to put that there so I know where it is. I haven't cleaned it yet. I'm going to take it needs new strings. I think it's been sitting for a long time. I think someone actively played with it for a short period of time and then put it away. I mean, they played it, like it gigged and everything, but okay. I wrote a note to myself. It still trips me out that this is a thing, this mail call, like it didn't exist, and then I made it, and now it's a thing. It's true. I mean, I didn't intend to create a video channel. It really wasn't what I wanted to do. I just wanted to make sure that the customers could, hang on a second. Kraken's trying to climb into the case. When is this happening to me? Kraken, move it. Okay, wow. That's ridiculous. You know, someday I'm going to get annoyed enough about all the things I put in my own way that maybe I'll make it better. So the first question relates to the first thing I want to talk about, which is jobs and the donate button and confusion that is generally my fault. We have a donate button on the website because years ago someone wanted to buy us pizza, and so it's a widget and we put it on the site and we forgot about it. So using the donate button is beyond not compulsory. No one has to give us anything. It's just there because it's there. Donating something is because you feel like it. That's fine. That's great. But nobody has to donate anything. It's not a big deal. I am going to be splitting. I'm not going to be using those. I'm not going to be using those for sale spots anymore. I think that's a stupid idea. I don't like the $500 deposit. I don't think I'm going to do that again. I think I'm going to do the random draw. In order to do so, we need a mailing list. Supposedly it should have worked. I tested it, but it's just not working. So we need to look at the website to add the mailing list. I'm certain it's there. Maybe we just didn't turn it on. But I'm going to give plenty of heads up, plenty of time before I do anything so people can get on the list if they want. So having people, I don't know what I was thinking. I should stick with with the things I know. Which leads us to our first question. Robert Lambert. Before I forget again, Spencer, what is the donation function for on the website? There you go. There's your answer. Second question is, having just perused the website, there's no email link yet, right? Now, like I just said. Otherwise, I'm having a senior moment again, and I'm only 57, but I can't find it anywhere. I can't find anything. Don't worry about it. We are working on it. This basic system, mailing list, random chooser, plenty of advance notice for people who want to get on that list. Oh, and by the way, any mailing list that we have, I don't market, I don't sell to marketers, I don't do any of that stuff. I mean, my record keeping is abysmal. So don't worry about that. Literally, the mailing list will only be used to figure out who can send their watches in. Okay. Oh yeah, this is a comment about the Boeing 377, that beautiful old crazy plane with the big round nose and the huge observation sort of feel of the bridge. Watch me draw. Punch it, Chewie. Reminds me of the Millennium Falcon, but a non-fiction version. Yes, having a bay window converted into a cockpit replica would be epic. Oh, I don't want a replica. Man, I want the real thing. There's the pictures are really old. It's probably in bad shape. But there's a B-36 Peacemaker that is in several large pieces in Maine, including the nose section. I'm sure it's real rough, but it's there, the whole thing. And the B-36 had that same sort of blunt nose and the giant windows and all that stuff. No, I want a real cockpit bolted out of the side of the house. You know, I think that'd be fun. When I was still living in San Francisco in the 90s, there was, underneath the giant overpass ramps the highways coming in from the Bay Bridge, underneath that there was a thing called the Caribbean Zone, and it was literally underneath these giant bridges, and that's where it was. But there was an airplane on the top of it, an old passenger plane, like a DC-4 or something, and but it was like a crashed plane, but there was a restaurant in it. I think the plane's only claim to fame besides that was that it was used previously by the Doobie Brothers on tour. Anyway, but I always thought that was cool. And then, of course, World of Warcraft, it has lots of sections where bases are made out of old boats and old machines and stuff. I think that'd be cool. Man, because we have no HOA. I could bolt it right to the side of the house if I could get the permit. Nacho Valenti. Good morning, Spencer. Good morning. Drinking coffee while I watch and listen to your last mail call. This week, I've received the Dune 6105-8110 homage. 2 years ago, almost, I bought the Redune 6105-8000 homage, and despite the harsh treatment I have subjected it to, it works perfectly and is in great condition, including strap. Their casework was legitimate. The new 6105-8110 looks great with some differences with respect to the original, but humbly, it seems to me the closest to the original of all the homages out there. I think Redune should send you one to give us your opinion. It's the least that they could do. Personally, the watch case brushing, polishing, and measurements seem really good to me. Thank you so much in advance. Have a great week. I'd love to see one. I'm not going to buy one. I would love to see one. I would love to have one shipped in here, and I would absolutely give it an honest review. So, what are you going to do? Maybe one will magically appear on my doorstep. I'm not holding my breath, but we'll see. Steve Gavin. Hi, Spencer. Hello, Steve. Being Generation X like yourself, I love Seiko vintage nostalgic stuff. I have a Mecha Quartz and a 7006 orange dial rally diver. Both work, but are 20 years without service. I think they'll just remain that way in the watch box. Well, they're in good shape. I mean, that's, they're going to be fine in the dark. It'd be nice if you could wear them. That 7006 orange dial rally, the one that you're talking about, that's the last. That was Seiko's last 70-meter sport diver. Alpha, and what you have is Omega. Wrist check. Well, this is one of these sort of breakthrough moments for me. I've owned this watch. I don't even know how long I've owned this watch. Well, I've owned pieces of it for a very, very long time. This rotating ring came from Jonathan Koch. Some of the, the few things that he was able to get out of there before. But I don't remember exactly where the watch case came from. The movement, basically, I built this thing out of parts. I had the dial loose. I had the handsets in various places. This was an OS from Jonathan. I had the case, the movement, the dial, and the hands that were in this case were badly, badly damaged. So that's it. It's beautiful, though. This is one of the first line of Seiko's 70-meter divers. These are the first ones. So it's really cool. And there are 6106 versions, and there are 6119 versions and 6106 versions. Biggest thing at a glance is, see that painted chapter ring? That's the 6106 style. That's the 6119. I have never anticipated that I would love this thing as much as I did. This thing is super cool. This isn't the correct bracelet. I have the correct bracelet, but it's super beaten up. But with that coin edge bezel and how that bezel extends beyond the case edges, I mean. And so when you look down, all you see is that rotating ring, that insert, and the case is just really clean and trim. It's a beautiful design. And the deep, deep, deep blue dial is nice. The only chapter ring I had was from the original one that was destroyed with water, and pretty much all the plating came off. So that I actually replated by hand with sterling silver. It looks okay. I'm going to find a correct one, though. Oh, and the date isn't right because I need to lengthen the stem hair. Isn't that cool? That is cool. Yeah, the 6106 version, they're just neat. The cases are slightly different. Sort of an undercut versus more sort of a poke style angle cut. They're cool. Yeah, so I was oh good, it's recording this time. Man, last week, 3/4 of the video I had to completely re-record because I didn't push play. It's such a pretty watch. It's such a pretty watch. I love actually the rather plain dial. It doesn't have all that crazy stuff on it. And it sort of, it makes it look larger. And then the deep, deep blue, it's like looking into the depths of the ocean. What a beautiful watch. I'm super impressed. Anyway, so this bass, I had a realization. I had a Rickenbacker. When I was first playing way back in the day, I had an old Ibanez Blazer bass. It was a good bass, made in Japan. Then I sold that and bought a Fender Jazz bass for $700. And that was pretty cool. And I played that one. I had that one for a long time. And then I sold it in the late 90s to fund my escape from San Francisco. And then I lost track of it, but then one of you kind folks actually tracked it down for me because I have the card. So I was thinking about Fender basses again, even though I owned a Rickenbacker, a beautiful Rickenbacker. They're exquisitely beautiful. They're beautifully made. They're really nice. But I was looking at it and I was thinking, I don't know, there was something about it just didn't grip me. One, it was brand new. Two, it was valuable. And that always kind of made me a little hesitant. But I realize now, playing this thing, was sort of it feels, the ergonomics are great on this. It just feels comfortable. It feels like a nice worn stone in your pocket. And it's a really nice bass. And it occurred to me, in my opinion, that it's the difference between the Rickenbacker had this like chilly feel to it, kind of like Omega for me. Like I love Omega, but they're really like, there's no like, I don't know, there's no feeling of sort of, any kind of variance whatsoever. Omega stuff is extraordinarily precise, chilly and cold. I think I need to adjust that. Whereas this thing just has this like, just warmth and friendliness. It's a joy to touch. This feels like to me, it feels like kind of a living thing. The Rickenbacker didn't belong to anybody. Wow, I can't believe that I got this lucky. I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. Okay, I'm gonna shut up about this bass. But I'm just, I'm a 14-year-old again. I've got a Fender. Well, I had a Fender before, but I've never owned a P-Bass. Okay. Okay, Steve Gavin had one more comment before I went off the rails. No. Oh, yeah. I have 7006 Orange Dial Rally Diver Driver. Both work but are 20 years without service. Think they will just remain that way in a watch box. I think you are the only watchsmith that is truly passionate about keeping them alive. Regards, Steve. Oh, no, man. No, man. Absolutely not. There are so many people out there trying to keep these things going. And there's new people that are learning all the time, and they're getting better. And there's tons of enthusiasts in the world who want to learn what right is and what good looks like, and they want to be able to, do this work too. There's a small but significant army of you folks out there who are starting to do work, and you're collecting, and you're increasing your knowledge base, and you're helping out other people. And I'm far from, not only that, I'm an utter Johnny-come-lately. I mean, my friend and business partner, Jonathan Koch, he started when he was working in the jewelry counter, the watch counter in the jewelry store in 1970. And he has been singing the praises of Seiko ever since, well, until his untimely death. But, so I'm a late arrival, but thank you. Dennis Cleaver made a comment on an old video about, would you turn, about this World War II Japanese officer's sword. This is an officer's katana, captain rank designated by the blue tassel, and may contain a very valuable old family blade which would demand an expert evaluation. If it were mine, I would definitely have it checked out for insurance reasons and provenance. Blade shows no corrosion, which is a big plus in its value. Yeah, it's the blade is hand forged, but it's probably 20s or 30s. It's an unsigned tang. It's definitely a relatively a modern period blade, but the nice thing is that it's not signed. I've also owned these that were produced through the military. And all of those, they have all these arsenal stamps and things on them, and they're great quality. But because of the arsenal stamps and everything, they're considered like true weapons, and you can't actually. I don't believe you can own them, or maybe you just can't import them, something like that. This is a handmade blade, and it did not go through that system, so there's no markings on it at all. The blade is nice, but it did actually have a fair amount of corrosion. This thing was in the Pacific, of course. And the blade down here, this leather, holds water against the wood, and the wood kept a moist environment around the tip, and it rusted pretty well, and someone, not me, took off, probably about much the end of the thing, and tried to make it look nice. It needs to be professionally repolished, but I'm not worried about that today. Or ever, actually. I'm a glutton for punishment, but polishing those swords, nobody has time for that. Oh, as for value, it's worth like, I don't know, they don't ever seem to be less than 800 or more than 1200. I don't know why. Last 9 breaker. Mail call question. Are you aware of any glaring specific issues that stem from the design of the 5106 movement with high mileage? What is your opinion of the movement overall? Seems well designed, includes all the bezels and whistles with the exception of a fine adjuster. That's absolutely true. We can look at it. Okay, the 5126 movement. It was a 60s movement that Seiko had. They used it for a whole bunch of different stuff. A lot of the rally divers, these are both unrestored. Those kind of rally divers, they have these movements in them. But typically, when I think of 5126s, they did a lot of sort of salaryman dress watches. Look at that one with the little frosted tops and the indices and the radial brown dial. It's a cool watch. And the nice thing about them is that they're relatively speaking, they're not very thick. This has a high dome crystal, so that makes it look more like
more up, but here's one. This one actually uses, if memory serves, a type 2. I could be wrong. Again, unrestored, this one got the heck bonked out of it. But to keep them a little lower too, they tended to use snap-on casebacks rather than screwbacks, unless it was something like this, which is ostensibly a diver watch. But, you know, very, very, very typical. Yeah. This one has a blown cannon pinion. Wow. There's like, I could probably move the crown with air. You want to see if I can do it? Let's see if I can do it. Okay, right now it says 10:01. Come on, don't make me a liar. I suck. Damn. I really thought that would work. Oh well, you know what? Hey, look, I did move it a little bit. Fine, I'm going to take credit for it. Yeah, but anyway, they did a bunch of different style dress watches. I mean, that's a pretty nice watch, isn't it? Looks like that's got some okay. Somebody tried to polish up the sides. They did a bad job. But it's a great movement. Let's see if this one has a better cannon pinion. Because the way these work is they don't have a center wheel cannon pinion. They have an offset. So when I'm talking cannon pinion, it's actually not cannon pinion. It's something else entirely. It's a little wheel. Okay, so anyway, let's see. What do I got here? What do I got going on? No, I don't want to look at that. No, I don't want to look at that. Okay, now this, here's a 5126 movement. This movement is a junker. Okay, well, not a junker, but it's never been restored. This is how it came to me. Okay, so 5126s, I mean, they're nicely finished. They're nicely jeweled. They, but the thing that really makes them special is the automatic winding, which instead of being a pull lever and the magic lever and reduction wheels and stuff, it right over here, there's a couple little there's a couple little wheels that go right in there. Okay, just pretend that those wheels are there. I could do it if I wanted, but I don't want to. So anyway, this is normally covered by this. This fits right here, and this is essentially the mainspring arbor right there. What we would call the lower arbor. You'll notice there's just a hole there. The 5126s were equipped with a bushing like that, and it would go right here. But then if you have things like this is a 5106. This one would be jeweled. It's the same exact jewel as the lower mainspring arbor port jewel. So just do with that information what you will. But yeah, these things are just amazing. They're great movements. Let's see. So now we can look at the main. Is this one? Yeah, look at the jeweling. This is another junker. So again, don't freak out. Well, it's not a junker, but you know what I mean. But 5146, I mean, it's jeweled here. If you look at the calendar side, look at the jeweling. But in the 5146, if memory serves, those are diafix settings. It's just a beautiful, beautiful movement. And they're capable of doing some really amazing stuff. I don't know, that's it. Yeah, so again, good, it's recording. I think that it's usually, the movement itself is beautiful. The weak points that I've seen are in the winding assemblage, especially with the reversing wheel and everything, but they're fantastic movements. The fact that 5126 movements aren't more sought after, I have no, it's the craziest thing. I don't understand it at all. They're low, they're accurate, they're balanced. You can get great numbers even out of a bog standard 5126. They're great, great watches. Great movements. I have no idea why they're so cheap. If I was going to start, trying to make a Seiko powered three-hander, like some kind of short run something, I would absolutely not hesitate for a second to buy as many 5126s as I would need to service the movements and get them right up. And that would be a movement that I would back 100%. It would be almost an ideal power plant for a modern diver. You really would. They're fantastic. Okay, next thing. It seems well designed and includes all the bells and whistles with the exception of a fine adjuster. Yeah, that's true. But I don't know. Fine adjusters are nice, but the only one I really like is when you can get a swan's neck one. They're cool. RG. Hello, Spencer. Still hoping Sabrina would return to the Friday mail calls someday. You and me both, buddy. A couple of questions for the next one. What's your favorite way to extend the life of a plastic or rubber band? I've seen people treating them with barium O-ring lube and olive oil. I have no idea. You'd have to find something that rubber goes bad when you have the volatiles start coming out of it, right? And then then you get the elastic things aren't elasticy anymore. But I don't know that it works, because I would figure that any salve that you would put on rubber to keep it nice and moist should in theory work at least a little bit on old stiffer rubber, right? I've tried that experiment many, many times years ago. And I didn't find anything that seemed to be penetrative or rejuvenatory for rubber that I could put on the outside. I think silicone grease is good. You just want to keep the oxygen away from it. That's what you want to do. Boy, everybody's talking about these days. Why is that? Here's the second part of your question. Have you ever seen in person a green teal dial 6458? I've seen one of the green ones, whether it's a 6458 or that's 7548 or 6458, but I don't remember. If they're real, if the internet says they're real, those watches were kind of being produced right around the same time. I wonder why they stopped using the teal. Maybe it had to use maybe that green color required arsenic. Possibly. Mr. James Duffy of the Sandwich Time Channel, based in San Francisco, California, country of the United States of America. Thank you for answering my question. This is about the fine adjuster that we talked about. Thank you for answering my question. I had assumed the adjustment was made on the screw on the outside for some reason. I did too, many years ago. Before I ever took one apart, I was like, I bet that's just like a cranker there. Like a throttle screw on a carburetor. You get that one where you want it to be. I would definitely have been the kind of person who would fiddle with it to dial in the position only to muck it up. I know it is ultimately pointless, but I obsess over accuracy and precision of every watch I own according to my specific wear patterns. I see watches as little machines, with good reason. A mechanical system that are a universe unto themselves, and being able to characterize how they function from the outside fascinates me. It probably satisfies the teeny tiny scientist still in my brain from half a lifetime ago. They're just, I love accuracy. And you would think that all things being equal, pure math would tell you how long it's going to go and everything else like that. Devil's, of course, in the details. Hang on a second. I've got to let Kraken out. Good, it's recording. Excellent. Windy. Windy, 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 cold and gray. Okay, but back to James Duffy. Yeah, you can't. I can't think about accuracy too much. I mean, my Rolex, like I said, it has a fair amount of variation through the day, and you're going to get variation based on temperature and how you're wearing it, and all this stuff. But Rolex is supposed to be a chronometer. And it keeps very good time. I would need to go back in and start messing around with the timing screws and to try to get that dialed in a little further. I have other things I'd like to worry about. If I want real hardcore accuracy, baby, I'll get a 7548 dialed in. If you want real accuracy, for me, for an affordable thing, that's the way to go. Well, I'm not, by the way, criticizing you or telling you what to think. I'm just telling you my input. 247 ADT. After Rolex and Patek Philippe passed on the coaxial escapement, Omega figured out how to industrialize production of it and manufacture them at scale. Someone told me that the Omega isn't a true coaxial because they oil it. Remember, I was talking about apparently I'd heard not to need lubrication because they don't slide. Well, so did Dr. George Daniels, who created the thing, but not to reduce friction. The oil is to prevent impact oxidation, which also occurs in the detent escapement. Now that the patent has run out, I suspect other brands will put coaxial escapements in their watches. However, with modern lubricants, does the coaxial complexity give it any significant advantage over the Swiss lever? You're still removing friction. You're still removing friction. You have, relatively speaking, a much longer period of contact between the stones and the teeth of the escape wheel with a standard pallet fork setup. I would think that coaxial is still probably longer lived. It probably gives greater overall accuracy, assuming that the rest of the movement's up to the same condition. But hey, it's Omega, man. I don't know. I would hope that they would become generally available. I mean, I think that their sort of advantage is, I don't know. I mean, it's neat. Let's put it that way. It's neat. I don't know that it's no quartz crisis causing thing. Michael Matera. Hi, Spencer. I hope you had a great week. Well, I certainly had a week. I love seeing your Rolex 000. I don't know if you remember, but I have a 16800. That's the model that just before the 000. I noticed that most times I see you show yours, you're wearing it on some sort of strap. I was curious if you prefer it on a strap versus a bracelet. I've always thought that a sub looks a little incomplete with a strap, but seeing yours kind of makes me give this a second thought, and maybe I just haven't seen the right combination to win me over completely yet. Thanks again as usual. Oh, and on the Mustang, I need another guitar like I need a hole in my head. Thanks for mentioning it last week, Mike. Oh, yeah. I grew up, a lot of my family are these like old school New England Yankee people. They've been up there for a long time. And one of the things about them, regardless of their income or, their sort of social standing or everything, that I noticed with those people, and they didn't really have to worry about money, those people. They would own things and they would just wear them and wear them and wear them. They were just things. And so my great uncle, he had a Rolex 1016. He destroyed the thing 3 times. And they just wore it. He wore it however he wanted to wear it. He wore what works for him. So if straps don't work for you, that's totally cool. I like the way it looks, personally. I think it has sort of a nice classy feel to it. It's also much lighter on the wrist, which is good. That helps because I'm always moving my hand. I don't know. It's just I want to get to the point where I'm going to do what I want to do when I want to do it for reasons that that satisfy me. So I mean, I'm talking about little things like this aesthetic stuff. So that's why I'm becoming a hippie, because it's like I realized I spent far too much time caring what other people thought of me, especially considering that the 99% of them I'm not even aware they exist. So, do what you like. We've got one trip. This is it. If you do only prefer bracelets, man, that's great. I like the stock bracelet. Mine has it. I'm a big fan of the comfort of those standard Rolex bracelets. Wish I had a new clasp. Mine is really worn. But yeah, it's I go back and forth. I'm sure I'll put it back in the bracelet here soon. Everything will be fine. But I have to tell you, I do wear it a lot on the strap. It makes it really comfortable, and it brings out that sort of the elegance of it, and also the color brown. I swear that strap, because you're reducing the amount of like steel silver color around the watch itself, and you're adding in brown. And so what that does is it's going to call attention to the like color in the dial, which in this case is the very faintly patinaed tritium lume. And I found that on that strap I can actually see the tritium lume more, and it looks a little browner as a result, which I like. And so that's really, 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 for me, that's the big thing. But here, I'll show you. Sort of, I guess, wrist check part 2, sort of. That's what it's working out. There's my 1987 Rolex on waterproof leather strap from Speidel, Germany. I love it. I don't know. People get real wrapped up about, divers on leather and having racing straps on dress watches and stuff. And, this stuff is all voluntary. There isn't like a governing body of style for international watches. People can wear whatever they want. Heck, if you want, I've got one of those Opalago sterling silver style Navajo cuff bracelets. I'll put this thing on that. It should enhance whatever it's with. And I just love it. I just think it's a lovely combination. I love brown and black together. Yep, it's recording. Aaron Petterini. Hey, Spencer. Hello, Aaron. Question or two for the next mail call. Which is it? How do you decide when a watch is too far gone? If the main plate is just unsalvageable. If the train is not just the train, because the gears can be replaced, but if the plates are damaged, like really damaged, then it's game over. Anything else, talking about my great uncle's Rolex 1016 that he destroyed 3 times, he flooded that watch repeatedly, and when it came to me after he passed, it was pretty rusty. But because these things are they're brass and they're plated with not rhodium, that's omega. They're plated with something. There are ways to clean off rust and have it go away, and I was able to do that because the bones, the structure of the movement of the plates was actually fine. I had to replace everything that moved, mostly, but I'd still say that the movement's 60-70% original. So yeah, that's the thing, plates. For me, anyway. So this is Aaron again. So there's my answer. I'm having a 6139 sent back to me from one of my favorite shops because it was too much work to get running. I'm now faced with a tough decision. Do I sell it for parts or try to get it running? I really like the watch, but at what point to accept reality? I'm also having a hard time finding the mailing list on your website. Did I miss it? No, you didn't miss it because I apparently haven't put it up because I'm a flibberty-gibbet. to your other question, it depends. Everything for me is on cosmetic condition. If a watch is like literally this thing was in pieces, okay, but I was able to build this watch more or less from parts. But if you have a watch where the cosmetics are that good, let's just pretend this watch was always this way. If you have a watch with the cosmetics are that good and the movement's jacked up, boy, you're already home free. But if you have a watch with just a beautiful movement and the dial and the hands are jacked up or the case on the outside looks bad, so that's another factor too. For me, if a watch becomes a hanger queen or not depends really on the condition of the dial and the completeness of the whole thing. So anything can be fixed. There was a Rolex that there was another Rolex in theory that belonged to Steve McQueen, and it burned in a house fire, and Rolex restored it. But I'm sure how Rolex restored it was to simply replace every single part except the case. But if you want to do it, it can be done. And according to the laws of the Ship of Theseus theory, it's the same watch. Carlos, P-A-G-I, Peggy. I'm so sorry about that if I got your name wrong. I have 4 7546 Seikos. Cool. My dad gave me my first one for my 30th birthday. He had owned it from new in 1979 and knew very well how much I admired it. Oh yeah. I'm always on the lookout for others and parts as they rarely come up. I'd love a source for bezel inserts for 7546 6040s. I've never seen a single one anywhere. That's because the inserts were never sold separately. The bezel was a whole complete piece that you would get from Seiko. That's how they do it today. You don't get just the insert. You get the whole rotating ring. That's the way that it goes. I love these watches. They are just superb. I agree. Great stuff, Spencer. I agree. Glad you're doing well. I also agree. Thanks a lot. You're very welcome. Okay. Kev's windsurfing adventures. That's awesome. I've never had a windsurfing adventure. I tried to go windsurfing once in my life. It was not successful. I was given a 7A28 7070 for my 21st birthday in 1987. Yeah. I was 19 in 87, so I wore that watch every day until about 2011 when the bracelet finally failed. I've since had the watch restored, and I wear it occasionally with an NOS bracelet, which is the same as the one in this video. I love this model of Seiko. They are incredibly accurate. I love the rotation of the 1/10 second hand. They're an incredible piece of engineering. Nice seeing one restored. Yeah, they're great. People often ask me, the greatest movements, greatest quartz movements. And my vote for greatest quartz movements is a cumulative 7A thing. They've got a couple of things that are not as cool. Like I wish they had a full variable trimmer, which they don't. But other than that, I don't know. The only other thing you could do is if you made them temperature compensated, they'd be unreal. They'd be unbelievable. I mean, they're already physically the greatest quartz movements ever made, 15 joules. A world first analog quartz chronograph. Nobody ever did it before. They're fantastically underrated and amazing. Problem is that the era they were sold in is they just got beaten to death and they look like ass. So that's a real problem because if they don't look good, people aren't going to wear them, and it doesn't really matter how much they look, how well they look. I mean, it's really something to see what these looked like when they were new. I have an example I'll show you. So just talking about, how amazing these watches were when they were new. This is a Seiko 7848 7009 Moon Phase. This is from the Ryan Walters collection, though now it's the Spencer Klein collection. But this one, look, it's still got its case back sticker.
good polish on it. Like nowhere on the gold. Isn't that thing beautiful? That's amazing. You just never see them. So imagine what all these crazy models look like when they were, you know, when they were brand new. Not a lot of people get to see them, and so they look kind of junky if they're not taken care of. And then people don't understand, you know, what an astonishing movement these are. Really are something. Ooh, this one needs service, Ryan. Oh yeah, look at that main sweep drag. Okay. Okay, so this one absolutely needed service. Holy cow. Yeah, oh my goodness gracious. Now, as bad as that looks, a movement service, this thing will be just sprightly and clean as anything. Yeah, it's a classy watch. So anyway, they looked good when they were new. Final closing notes. I still plan on doing a state of the collection video, and I'll get those down out of the storage, and we'll get that done. So I just keep forgetting to. Other than that, I tell you, I'll keep this bass until the end of my life. I don't need another one. This one will be fine. Between this and my Strat, I think I'm set. I'm a Fender guy, and that's just the way it is. Thank you so much for watching, as always. And I will get that other video made, and we'll check in on some other stuff. I do have some other cool things happening. Okay, bye. Oh, I just would notice one more thing. So this this neck has really thin finish on it, and it was satin originally, but the bass got played enough that the middle section is polished. It's like this thing was worn just enough. My heart breaks for the person that sold this. I hope that they're well. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't need it anymore. I don't know, but this is a really nice bass. It's really crazy nice. I haven't even cleaned it or set it up yet. Holy cow. Anyway, I hope that person is well and is comfortable with their choice to have sold this bass, because I guarantee you, person, if you happen to be watching, it's got a good home, and it will, God willing, never leave here. Okay, now I'm done. Oh, one last thing. Oddity of the week. I want to keep going on with that. So I bought, I've been buying some things. There are some good parts coming up in South America, in Venezuela. And they had, this person, I bought from them a few times, and they had this up, and I bought it for really quite more than reasonable money. It's original. It has, the only real damage it has is the clear top coat is lifting right here, but I'm going to fix that down. But look at that PT on that thing. Someone replaced it. Must have been with a new old stock. And the watchsmith, just as a good watchsmith should, saved it, because you save everything if the customer doesn't want it. So I need to look for a Panda case, stainless Panda case. And it doesn't have to be in great condition. But if anybody has a Panda case sitting around, please let me know. I keep wanting to build one of these for myself to my specifications, and I love building stuff from scratch and parts, and that's what I would do here. So if you have a case, I don't even need any of the rest of it, bezel or case back or any of that stuff. Well, case back would be nice, but I want to build me a watch. Okay, bye-bye.